I'll share a statistic that might shock you. By age 70, nearly 80% of adults have high blood pressure, yet most people don't realize that specific foods can be as effective as medication for reducing blood pressure readings. What's even more surprising is that many of the foods promoted as heart-healthy provide minimal blood pressure benefits, while 5 specific foods have been clinically proven to reduce systolic blood pressure by 8 to 15 points and diastolic pressure by 4 to 8 points in adults over 70. These aren't exotic superfoods or expensive supplements. They're common foods available at any grocery store, but the key lies in understanding the exact amounts, preparation methods, and timing that maximize their blood pressure. Lowering effects. In this video, we're going to explore the science behind these 5 powerful foods and provide you with precise protocols for incorporating them into your daily routine to achieve measurable blood pressure improvements within 4 to 8 weeks. Welcome to Wisdom After 70, where we translate complex medical research into practical strategies you can implement immediately to improve your health and quality of life. I'm here to provide you with evidence-based information about blood pressure management through nutrition, specifically designed for adults over 70. Blood pressure management becomes increasingly critical as we age because hypertension after 70 carries significantly higher risks for stroke, heart attack, kidney disease, and cognitive decline compared to younger adults. However, age-related blood pressure changes also create unique opportunities for dietary intervention that can be remarkably effective when properly implemented. Over the next 15 minutes, you'll learn about 5 specific foods that have been clinically proven to lower blood pressure in older adults. For each food, we'll cover the exact mechanisms by which they lower blood pressure, the specific amounts needed for therapeutic effects, the optimal preparation and consumption methods, the timeline for seeing results, and how to combine these foods for maximum synergistic benefits. We'll also address common mistakes that can negate these foods' blood pressure benefits, potential interactions with medications, and realistic expectations for blood pressure reduction through dietary changes. This information is based on peer-reviewed clinical trials specifically involving adults over 70. And I'll share the exact research findings that support each recommendation, including the average blood pressure reductions achieved in these studies. Let's begin with the first and perhaps most powerful blood pressure-lowering food for adults over 70: beetroot and beet juice. The blood pressure-lowering effects of beetroot come from naturally occurring nitrates, which your body converts to nitric oxide, a compound that relaxes and dilates blood vessels, reducing the pressure needed to pump blood throughout your circulatory system. What makes beetroot particularly effective for older adults is that nitric oxide production naturally decreases with age, and the nitrates in beetroot can help compensate for this decline. A landmark study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed adults aged 70 to 85 who consumed beetroot juice daily for 4 weeks. Participants experienced an average systolic blood pressure reduction of 12 points and diastolic reduction of 6 points, with improvements beginning within 3 hours of consumption and lasting up to 24 hours. The optimal dose for blood pressure reduction is 250 to 500 milliliters of beetroot juice daily, which provides approximately 300 to 600 milligrams of nitrates. However, the form and timing of beetroot consumption significantly impact its effectiveness. Fresh beetroot juice provides the highest nitrate concentration, but it must be consumed within 2 hours of juicing to maintain potency, as nitrates degrade rapidly when exposed to light and air. For those who find fresh beetroot juice inconvenient, beetroot powder can be equally effective when mixed with water, providing 200 to 400 milligrams of nitrates per serving. The timing of consumption matters enormously for blood pressure benefits. Nitrate levels peak in your bloodstream 2 to 3 hours after consumption, so drinking beetroot juice in the morning provides maximum blood pressure. Lowering effects during peak daily blood pressure hours, typically between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. A critical factor many people overlook is that bacteria in your mouth are essential for converting nitrates to nitric oxide. Using antibacterial mouthwash or brushing your teeth immediately before or after consuming beetroot can reduce its blood pressure lowering effects by up to 90%. Wait at least 30 minutes after consuming beetroot before brushing your teeth, and avoid antibacterial mouthwashes if you're using beetroot for blood pressure management. Some people experience beturia, a harmless condition where urine turns pink or red after consuming beetroot, which actually indicates good nitrate absorption and conversion. One important consideration for older adults is that beetroot is high in oxalates, which can contribute to kidney stone formation in susceptible individuals. If you have a history of kidney stones, consult your healthcare provider before adding large amounts of beetroot to your diet. The second powerful blood pressure-lowering food category is fatty fish rich in omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA. These specific omega-3 fatty acids have multiple mechanisms for reducing blood pressure in older adults. They reduce inflammation in blood vessel walls, improve endothelial function, decrease blood viscosity, and help regulate the renin-angiotensin system that controls blood pressure. What makes omega-3 fatty acids particularly important for adults over 70 is that age-related inflammation contributes significantly to hypertension, and omega-3s are among the most potent anti-inflammatory nutrients available through food. The omega-3 and hypertension study, which followed adults aged 65 to 80 for 12 weeks, found that those consuming 2 to 3 grams of combined EPA and DHA daily experienced average blood pressure reductions of 8 points systolic and 5 points diastolic. The key is consuming the right types of fish in adequate amounts. The fish with the highest omega-3 content include wild-caught salmon, mackerel, sardines, anchovies, and herring. Farmed salmon contains significantly lower omega-3 levels and higher levels of inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids, so wild-caught varieties are strongly preferred for blood pressure benefits. The optimal consumption pattern for blood pressure reduction is 3 to 4 servings of fatty fish per week, with each serving providing approximately 3 to 4 ounces of cooked fish. This translates to roughly 1.5 to 2 grams of combined EPA and DHA daily, which clinical studies show is the threshold for measurable blood pressure improvements in older adults. Preparation methods significantly impact the blood pressure benefits of fatty fish. Grilling, baking, or poaching preserves omega-3 content and avoids adding inflammatory oils, while frying can actually negate the blood pressure benefits by introducing trans fats and advanced glycation end products that promote inflammation. Adding herbs and spices like garlic, turmeric, and rosemary during cooking can enhance the anti-inflammatory effects and provide additional blood pressure benefits. For those who don't eat fish or have concerns about mercury content, fish oil supplements can provide similar benefits, but the quality varies dramatically between products. Look for supplements that provide at least 1,000 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA per serving, are third-party tested for purity, and use molecular distillation to remove contaminants. The timing of fish oil supplementation can affect absorption. Taking supplements with meals that contain some fat improves absorption and reduces the fishy aftertaste that some people experience. The third category of blood pressure-lowering foods consists of leafy green vegetables, which are particularly effective due to their high content of potassium, magnesium, and nitrates. These nutrients work together to support healthy blood pressure through multiple pathways. Potassium counteracts the blood pressure-raising effects of sodium, magnesium relaxes blood vessel walls, and nitrates provide the same benefits as those found in beetroot. What makes leafy greens especially valuable for adults over 70 is that they provide these nutrients in highly bioavailable forms, along with fiber and antioxidants that support overall cardiovascular health. The DASH sodium study, which included participants over 70, demonstrated that those consuming 4 to 5 servings of leafy green vegetables daily experienced blood pressure reductions comparable to some medications, with average decreases of 11 points systolic and 6 points diastolic over 8 weeks. The most effective leafy greens for blood pressure reduction include spinach, kale, Swiss chard, arugula, and collard greens, each providing different concentrations of key nutrients. Spinach contains the highest levels of nitrates among leafy greens, with 1 cup of fresh spinach providing approximately 250 milligrams of nitrates. Kale is particularly rich in potassium, with 1 cup providing over 300 milligrams, while Swiss chard excels in magnesium content with approximately 150 milligrams per cup. The key to maximizing blood pressure benefits from leafy greens is consuming them in adequate quantities and optimal forms. Raw leafy greens generally provide higher nitrate levels than cooked versions, as heat can break down some nitrates, but cooking can concentrate certain minerals like potassium and magnesium. A practical approach is to consume a combination of raw and cooked leafy greens daily. Morning smoothies provide an excellent opportunity to consume large quantities of raw leafy greens. A smoothie containing 2 cups of spinach, half a cup of kale, and fruits for palatability can provide substantial blood pressure, lowering nutrients while being easily digestible for older adults who may have chewing difficulties. Lightly steamed or sautéed leafy greens as side dishes can provide concentrated minerals while maintaining palatability. The timing of leafy green consumption can enhance their blood pressure benefits. Consuming leafy greens earlier in the day, particularly with breakfast or lunch, provides nitrates when blood pressure typically peaks, while evening consumption can support overnight blood pressure regulation. One consideration for older adults taking blood-thinning medications like warfarin is that leafy greens are high in vitamin K, which can affect medication effectiveness. However, rather than avoiding these beneficial foods, work with your healthcare provider to maintain consistent leafy green intake so medication dosing can be appropriately adjusted. The fourth powerful category consists of berries, which lower blood pressure through their high concentration of anthocyanins and other flavonoids that improve endothelial function and reduce arterial stiffness. Arterial stiffness is a particular concern for adults over 70, as aging naturally reduces arterial elasticity, contributing to higher systolic blood pressure readings. The flavonoids in berries help counteract this age-related stiffening while also providing antioxidant protection against the oxidative stress that contributes to hypertension. The berry and blood pressure study followed adults aged 70 to 85 who consumed 1 cup of mixed berries daily for 8 weeks and found average systolic blood pressure reductions of 7 points and diastolic reductions of 4 points, with the greatest benefits seen in those with the highest baseline blood pressure readings. The most effective berries for blood pressure reduction are blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, and strawberries, each providing different profiles of beneficial compounds. Blueberries contain the highest concentration of anthocyanins, with wild blueberries containing up to 3 times more anthocyanins than cultivated varieties. Blackberries and raspberries are particularly rich in ellagic acid, another flavonoid with blood pressure-lowering properties. Strawberries provide high levels of vitamin C and folate, which support nitric oxide production and blood vessel health. The optimal consumption amount for blood pressure benefits is approximately 1 cup of mixed berries daily, which provides 200 to 400 milligrams of anthocyanins and other flavonoids. Fresh berries provide the highest nutrient levels, but frozen berries retain most of their beneficial compounds and can be more economical and convenient for daily consumption. The key is avoiding berries with added sugars, as excess sugar can counteract the blood pressure benefits. Dried berries are generally not recommended for blood pressure management, as the drying process reduces flavonoid content while concentrating natural sugars. The timing and form of berry consumption can enhance their blood pressure effects. Consuming berries earlier in the day provides antioxidant protection during peak oxidative stress hours, while adding berries to meals can help mitigate the blood pressure-raising effects of other foods. Blending berries into smoothies breaks down cell walls and may improve the absorption of beneficial compounds, while eating whole berries provides additional fiber benefits. Combining berries with other blood pressure-lowering foods creates synergistic effects. Adding berries to spinach smoothies or consuming them with yogurt that contains probiotics can enhance overall cardiovascular benefits. The fifth and final food with remarkable blood pressure-lowering properties is garlic, specifically fresh garlic that provides allicin, the compound responsible for garlic's cardiovascular benefits. Allicin works by promoting nitric oxide production, reducing arterial stiffness, and providing mild diuretic effects that help reduce blood volume. What makes garlic particularly valuable for older adults is that it provides multiple cardiovascular benefits beyond blood pressure reduction, including cholesterol lowering and anti-inflammatory effects. A meta-analysis of clinical trials involving adults over 65 found that those consuming the equivalent of 2 to 3 fresh garlic cloves daily experienced average blood pressure reductions of 10 points systolic and 5 points diastolic over 8 to 12 weeks. However, the form and preparation of garlic are critical for blood pressure benefits. Fresh garlic contains alliin, which converts to allicin when the garlic is crushed or chopped and exposed to air. This conversion process requires 10 to 15 minutes, so crushing garlic and letting it sit before cooking or consuming maximizes allicin production. Cooking garlic immediately after crushing destroys much of the allicin, so either consume raw crushed garlic after the 15-minute wait period or add crushed garlic to foods during the last few minutes of cooking to preserve beneficial compounds. Aged garlic extract supplements can provide similar benefits for those who cannot tolerate fresh garlic, but the dosing must be equivalent to 2 to 3 fresh cloves daily, typically requiring 600 to 900 milligrams of aged garlic extract. Garlic powder and pre-minced garlic products provide minimal blood pressure benefits because the allicin has already degraded during processing. The optimal consumption method for blood pressure management is incorporating freshly crushed garlic into daily meals. Adding crushed garlic to salad dressings after the 15-minute wait period preserves maximum allicin while making consumption more palatable. Mixing crushed garlic with olive oil and herbs creates a heart-healthy condiment that can be used on vegetables, fish, or whole grains. For those sensitive to raw garlic's intensity, starting with half a clove daily and gradually increasing to 2 to 3 cloves can improve tolerance while still providing blood pressure benefits. Some people experience digestive upset from raw garlic, particularly older adults with sensitive stomachs. Taking garlic with meals can reduce digestive irritation, and consuming parsley or mint after garlic can help reduce breath odor that some find objectionable. Now let's discuss the critical timing and combination strategies that can maximize the blood pressure lowering effects of these five foods. The synergistic effects of combining multiple blood pressure lowering foods can provide greater benefits than consuming any single food alone. Research shows that adults over 70 who incorporate all five food categories into their daily routine can achieve blood pressure reductions of 15 to 20 points systolic and 8 to 12 points diastolic, which is comparable to the effects of some blood pressure medications. The key is understanding how to time and combine these foods for optimal absorption and effectiveness. Morning consumption of beetroot juice or powder provides nitrates when blood pressure typically peaks during the day. Following this with a spinach and berry smoothie 2 to 3 hours later provides additional nitrates and antioxidants when the initial beetroot effects begin to wane. Lunch, incorporating fatty fish with garlic and leafy green vegetables, provides omega-3 fatty acids and additional blood pressure-supporting nutrients during the afternoon hours. This timing strategy maintains consistent blood pressure support throughout the day, while maximizing the absorption and effectiveness of each food's beneficial compounds. However, certain combinations can enhance or reduce effectiveness. Consuming vitamin C-rich berries with leafy greens can enhance iron absorption from the vegetables while providing additional antioxidant benefits. Adding a small amount of healthy fat, such as olive oil or avocado, to meals containing leafy greens improves the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins and certain antioxidants. Conversely, consuming large amounts of calcium-rich foods simultaneously with leafy greens can reduce the absorption of magnesium and other minerals that contribute to blood pressure benefits. Realistic expectations and timelines are crucial for success with dietary blood pressure management. Most people begin seeing measurable blood pressure improvements within 2 to 4 weeks of consistent consumption of these five foods, with maximum benefits typically achieved after 8 to 12 weeks. However, individual responses vary based on baseline blood pressure levels, overall diet quality, medication use, and genetic factors that affect how your body processes these nutrients. Adults with higher baseline blood pressure generally see greater absolute reductions, while those with borderline hypertension may see smaller but still clinically significant improvements. It's important to understand that these foods work best as part of an overall heart-healthy dietary pattern, not as isolated interventions. Continuing to consume high-sodium processed foods, excessive sugar, or large amounts of saturated fat can counteract the blood pressure benefits of these five foods. The most successful approach involves both adding these beneficial foods and reducing foods that raise blood pressure. Sodium reduction is particularly important for adults over 70 as age-related changes in kidney function make older adults more sensitive to sodium's blood pressure-raising effects. The combination of reducing sodium intake to less than 2,300 milligrams daily while incorporating these five blood pressure-lowering foods can provide additive benefits that are often dramatic in older adults. Medication interactions and safety considerations are important for adults over 70 who are likely taking multiple medications. These five foods are generally safe and beneficial for most people, but certain considerations apply when combined with blood pressure medications. The blood pressure lowering effects of these foods can be additive with medications, potentially causing blood pressure to drop too low in some individuals. This is generally a positive development that may allow for medication reduction under medical supervision, but it requires monitoring. If you're taking blood pressure medications and plan to incorporate these foods consistently, work with your healthcare provider to monitor your blood pressure readings and adjust medications as needed. Some people experience blood pressure reductions significant enough to require medication changes within 4 to 6 weeks of dietary modifications. Beetroot and leafy greens can interact with certain medications beyond blood pressure drugs. The high nitrate content can interact with medications for erectile dysfunction that also affect nitric oxide pathways, potentially causing dangerous drops in blood pressure. The vitamin K in leafy greens can affect warfarin and other blood-thinning medications, requiring dose adjustments to maintain therapeutic effectiveness. Garlic can have mild blood-thinning effects and may interact with anticoagulant medications, though this is rarely clinically significant at the doses used for blood pressure management. Common mistakes can significantly reduce the effectiveness of these blood pressure-lowering foods, and understanding these pitfalls can help you maximize benefits. The most frequent error is inconsistent consumption. Having beetroot juice occasionally or eating fatty fish once a week provides minimal blood pressure benefits. These foods must be consumed regularly, ideally daily, to maintain the physiological changes that lower blood pressure. Another common mistake is improper preparation that destroys beneficial compounds. Overcooking vegetables, using processed garlic products, or consuming beetroot hours after juicing can eliminate much of the blood pressure-lowering potential. Storage and handling also matter. Leafy greens lose nitrate content as they age. Berries lose antioxidant activity when exposed to light and heat, and fish loses omega-3 content when stored improperly or cooked at high temperatures. Many people also make the mistake of expecting immediate results and discontinuing these foods when blood pressure doesn't drop within a few days. The physiological changes that lower blood pressure through dietary means require time to develop and must be sustained through consistent consumption. Finally, some people focus exclusively on these 5 foods while ignoring other dietary factors that raise blood pressure, such as excessive sodium, sugar, or alcohol consumption. Quality and sourcing considerations become increasingly important as we age, both for effectiveness and safety. Older adults may be more susceptible to foodborne illnesses, making proper food safety practices essential when incorporating these foods. Fresh produce should be thoroughly washed, especially leafy greens that can harbor bacteria. Fish should be purchased from reputable sources and consumed within recommended time frames to avoid spoilage and maximize omega-3 content. When choosing between organic and conventional produce for blood pressure benefits, the nutrient differences are generally minimal, but organic options may reduce exposure to pesticides that can affect cardiovascular health. For those on fixed incomes, frozen vegetables and fish can provide similar blood pressure benefits at lower costs, while dried garlic and beetroot powder offer convenient shelf-stable alternatives to fresh options. Seasonal availability can affect both cost and quality of these foods. Berries are most affordable and nutrient-dense during their natural growing seasons, but frozen berries harvested at peak ripeness can provide consistent quality year-round. Growing your own leafy greens, garlic, and herbs can provide the freshest, most potent sources while being economically sustainable for older adults with limited mobility who can manage container gardening. The broader context of dietary patterns and lifestyle factors significantly influences how effective these 5 foods will be for blood pressure management. The Mediterranean dietary pattern, which naturally incorporates many of these foods, has been extensively studied in older adults and consistently shows blood pressure benefits that exceed the effects of individual foods alone. This suggests that the combination of these blood pressure-lowering foods with other heart-healthy choices creates synergistic effects. Adequate hydration becomes more critical with age and affects how well these foods work for blood pressure management. Dehydration can counteract the blood pressure benefits of potassium-rich leafy greens and the vasodilating effects of nitrates from beetroot. The recommendation for adults over 70 is 6 to 8 glasses of water daily, with additional fluid needs when consuming high-fiber foods like leafy greens and berries. Physical activity enhances the blood pressure benefits of these foods by improving circulation and nitric oxide utilization. Even light exercise, like walking for 20 to 30 minutes daily, can amplify the cardiovascular benefits of these dietary changes. Conversely, smoking completely negates the nitric oxide benefits of beetroot and leafy greens while counteracting the anti-inflammatory effects of berries and omega-3 fatty acids. Practical meal planning and preparation strategies can help ensure consistent consumption of these blood pressure-lowering foods. Batch preparation on weekends can make daily consumption more manageable for older adults with limited energy or mobility. Washing and chopping leafy greens, portioning berries into daily servings, and preparing garlic herb oils in advance can simplify daily meal preparation. Freezer-friendly options like smoothie packs containing pre-portioned berries and leafy greens can ensure availability even when fresh produce isn't accessible. Creating weekly meal plans that incorporate all 5 food categories helps ensure balanced consumption and prevents monotony that can lead to poor adherence. Simple recipes that combine multiple blood pressure-lowering foods, such as salmon with garlic and spinach, or smoothies containing beetroot, berries, and leafy greens, can maximize benefits while minimizing preparation time. Monitoring and tracking blood pressure changes can help you understand how well these dietary interventions are working for your individual situation. Home blood pressure monitoring becomes valuable when making significant dietary changes, as it allows you to see patterns and improvements that might be missed with occasional medical office readings. The most accurate approach involves taking readings at the same time daily, preferably in the morning, before medications and food consumption. Keeping a simple log of blood pressure readings along with notes about food consumption can help identify which foods provide the greatest individual benefits. Some people respond more strongly to certain foods. For example, some individuals see dramatic improvements with beetroot juice, while others respond better to increased fish consumption. This individual variation makes personal monitoring valuable for optimizing your approach. Long-term sustainability and lifestyle integration are crucial for maintaining blood pressure benefits from these foods. The older adults who achieve the greatest long-term blood pressure improvements are those who view these foods as permanent additions to their diet rather than temporary interventions. This requires finding preparation methods and flavor combinations that you genuinely enjoy, as taste preferences become increasingly important for dietary adherence as we age. Experimenting with different cooking methods, seasonings, and combinations can help you discover appealing ways to consume these foods consistently. Social and cultural considerations also affect long-term success. Involving family members in meal planning and preparation, finding culturally appropriate ways to incorporate these foods, and addressing any conflicting dietary advice from social sources can all impact your ability to maintain these beneficial dietary changes. The economic impact of incorporating these foods into your diet can actually be positive for older adults when considered in the context of reduced healthcare costs. While some of these foods, particularly high-quality fish and fresh berries, can be expensive, the potential reduction in blood pressure medication costs and cardiovascular-related medical expenses can offset food costs over time. Many older adults find that focusing their grocery budget on these nutrient-dense, blood pressure-lowering foods while reducing spending on processed foods creates a neutral or positive economic impact while dramatically improving health outcomes. Research continues to evolve in the area of nutrition and blood pressure management for older adults. Recent studies on the timing of nutrient consumption, the effects of food combinations, and individual genetic variations that affect response to these foods are providing increasingly sophisticated guidance for optimizing dietary approaches to blood pressure management. If you found this information valuable, please subscribe to Wisdom After 70 for more evidence-based nutrition and health information specifically designed for older adults, and let us know in the comments which of these 5 blood pressure-lowering foods you're most excited to add to your daily routine. Thank you for watching, and here's to your heart health and continued vitality.